For Priyasma, we can go ahead.
Yes, sir. Every day brings you new hopes and new opportunity to make it hurt. A very good afternoon to the dignitaries, guests, delegates, and honored all present here. With great joy and immense pleasure, I feel privileged to welcome you all on the behalf of IPRCell, Institution Innovation Council AVIT, and AVIT Center for Continuing Education for the webinar on Idea into Parent. May I now request Dr. Bhupati sir, Deputy Director, IPRCell, AVIT, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, students. Thank you very much. Very good afternoon to one and all. Very good afternoon to all of you. It's given me immense pleasure in welcoming you all for this grand event of webinar on Idea into Pattern. I'd like to welcome our esteemed chief guest of the day, Dr. Sai Narayanan G, Technology Director, HCL Technologies Limited, Chennai, for having accepted our invitation to address the webinar despite his tight schedule of activities. Thank you, sir. I welcome our beloved principal, Dr. G. Sellukumar, and the backbone of IIC events, Program Director, IPIC, Professor L. Prabhu, the Program Director of AVIT, Center for Continuing Education, Dr. S.P. Sangeeta Madam, President, Mr. Praveen R., Vice President and HOD EEE, Dr. L. Chitra, and all HODs, colleagues, and my dear students. The purpose and aim of this program is to enhance our students' faculties' skills related to idea creation, idea into pattern, and selection of best innovative projects in the engineering field. I look forward for the active participation of all the participants, optimum utilization of program to make it a grand success. IPRCell had been involved in various events during the past years. Let me enumerate a few notable ones. 5 patents were granted in product and process categories. 6 patents were granted in design categories. Filed 22 patents based on the ideas percolated from the students and faculty member. 9 patents are in hearing stage and 5 patents are in pipeline. As per the schedule of Minister of Education, Government of India, we are planning to organize various programs in the upcoming years. We strive hard to achieve significant position of our IPRCell in India with the support of management and the full involvement of students and faculties. A special mention to our beloved principal, Dr. G. Sellukumar sir, and Professor L. Prabhu, who had always provided and continue to provide necessary support and guidance for each and every activities of IPRCell, IIC, AVIT. Because of that able guidance and supports, I am sure that IPRCell would achieve many laurels in the days to come also. I look forward for the support and the effective participation of all the faculty members and students. Jay, thank you. Jay Hind. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would invite our Honorable Principal AVIT, Dr. G. Selvakumar sir, to deliver the presidential address.
Thank you. Very good afternoon to you all. At the outset, I would like to welcome the guest of the day, Dr. G. Sai Narayanan, Technology Director, HCL Technologies Limited, Chennai, who is my very good friend. I welcome all the vice principals, HODs, faculty members, and students to this webinar. This webinar is titled Idea into Patent, which is jointly organized by the MHRD Institution Innovation Council of AVIT and AVIT Center for Continuing Education. Just for the information of all the audience here is that the guest of the day, Dr. Sai Narayanan, is my very good friend for more than 20 years. In fact, he is connected with our university, Vinayak Missions Research Foundation, in different capacities. In fact, he was the Board of Studies member of Vinayak Missions University in the very early stages. And we have traveled a lot in India and abroad for many academic assignments. In fact, we traveled to Malaysia for the program, which the engineering program was planned by our university to be started in Malaysia in Johor Bahru. And for that, we conducted a board of studies meeting. First phase was conducted in Chennai, and second phase was conducted in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And we traveled together. He was one of the member of board of studies and one of the key coordinator for the entire event, which was happened for more than 5 days. And we even traveled to many parts of globe for different academic assignments. So he is also a part of ICT Academy, and he is with the HCL Technologies for many years. And today he is occupying the position of Technology Director of HCL Technologies Limited. And he is a multifaceted personality. He is a good academician, very strong academician. He worked in Malaysia Sabah University for many years before becoming a part of IT industry. And he worked for, as I mentioned, ICT Academy of Tamil Nadu before joining HCL Technologies Limited. And as I mentioned, he was an academician. He was a researcher. He's a very good friend. He's a good human being, and such a wonderful personality is with us today. Very importantly, he has completed his master's in patenting. So such is his interest right from electronics and communication, various facets of image processing. He is also involved in IPR technologies. So I'm very happy to have my good friend Sai Narayanan today for this program. I welcome Sai for this program, and I welcome all the joiners today from AV8 and other institutions for this wonderful webinar. I hope there will be a lot of takeaways for you. So what is a patent? How to conceive an idea? How to convert the idea into product, and how to patent it? Those nuances in this session, Dr. Sai is going to mention. So attend the program with the clear-cut ambition, and probably at the end of the session, you'll get more information regarding that. And I want more patent to be filed from AV8 in the years to come. With this note, once again, welcome you all for this program, and all the best for the organizers. And thanks for the opportunity given to me.
Thank you, sir, for your thought-provoking address. Now I humbly request our principal to felicitate our today's chief guest, Dr. Sai Narayanan, sir.
So accept the memento, Dr. Sai.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This is my privilege to give a brief introduction of our today's resource person, Dr. Sai Narayanan, sir, Technology Director, AI and Computer Vision, HCL Technologies Limited, Chennai. Dr. G. Sai Narayanan, sir, obtained his BE in Electronic and Instrumentation from Annamalai University in 1998 and ME Control System in 2000 from PST College of Technology, PhD in Image Processing in 2003, Masters in Law Intellectual Property Rights in 2014, and also Executive Certification on Advanced Strategy Management from IIM. He has filed 75 plus US patent, of which 46 patents are granted in the area of computer vision and machine learning. He also published 125 technical publications as a books chapters, international journals, and conference proceeding. He has 21 years experience in academic, research, and industry. Currently work as a technology direction in engineering and research service of HCL Technologies. He is a senior member of IEEE. Also, he served board studies of several universities. His research interested or in machine learning, image and vision processing, and intellectual property rights. We feel very much honorable to have you on this today's speaker, sir. Now I request our today's speaker, Dr. Sai Narayanan, sir, to please take over the session, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for introduction, and thanks for the warm welcome, and very apt to the session. You have an innovative way of facilitating with an e-memento. That sets a context for the whole afternoon, what we are going to discuss. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. Hopefully, I'll not make you to sleep enough. Saturday afternoon and last day of the week. Let me try to make it interesting. And if there are any questions in between also, please free to stop and ask. I'll be maybe whenever there is some concept being explained, if you have any doubts or you have some ideas and you want to know whether that can be patternable or not, please free to discuss. We can maybe let's make it quite an interactive one. Say that topic was like when Professor Dubari was discussing like whether we can have it as an idea to pattern. I thought like there are multi stages to it, so I little expanded the rephrase the title to be idea to invention, invention to pattern, then pattern to monetization. Whatever we do, it is all should end up in how you monetize it. Monetize it means how you are making into a commercial. Mainly this invention or the pattern are mainly towards protecting the commercial rights, right? So how you, what is the difference between idea, invention, then invention and pattern, and how to monetize it? Because like we have a strong startup ecosystem is growing, and the universities are having the incubation centers or the IPR centers. The main high level objective is to how to monetize, how to make commercial value out of your invention, how to productize it and take it and make it a successful entrepreneur is a thing. Or if you're already an entrepreneur, or if you are already running an industry, how to protect your industry or how to protect your inventions or your product. That is the end goal of it, right? So we will cover here in this topic about what is IP, IPR, a little background about it. You might have already had some sessions from various experts, since you have a like a dedicated cell for IPR, but let me put my understanding and my learning into that, or that this concept. Then what is innovation and how to find the intellectual property. Then some interesting insights on pattern. Then how to understand the pattern landscapes and what are the different strategies and what are the some promising area and what is growing. Okay. So when it comes to an intellectual property, right, when you break it into an intellectual and the property, what is a property is something like you own it, right? You own a car or a home or an any building or anything, you or a phone or anything which are tied with some physical. You can measure it, you can physically feel it, you can physically bind it, right? That is all called physical properties. But something created out of a human mind, right? Human brain, out of a creation of human mind, that is called as an intellectual property. And it may be an invention, or it may be a literary, it may be a song or a music or an artistic work or a design, anything. These all which are created just out of a human brain without any physical things. Like you cannot put it into a box and bind it. That's it called as an intangible. You cannot directly measure the dimension of it, or directly relate the cost of it, or directly relate the value of it. It's all called intellectual property. Like you have a normal property like a car or a thing, you go and register in the government and say that the government or an authorized body and say that this is my property, this is my land, this is my survey number of the land, and this is the dimension of the land, and the north side, south side, what is the boundary of it. All that we give the boundaries and say this is my physical land, and you claim the rights of it, right? Similarly, when it is been created out of the human brain, you need to hold the rights of it also. Say if, for example, you have a land, you don't own the rights of it, what happens? Someone will build a house or someone will put a fence and they will start living there, right? So that is a thing. To protect that, you are going and registering. If you don't register your car, someone may take it and claim there as a car, right? Similarly, for an intellectual property, right, which is created of a human mind, how to protect that, right? That is what that protection is called, the intellectual property protection. Mainly, it is to enable the people to earn or the recognition or the financial benefit, right? Say if it is a music, someone has composed a music, he should be recognized for that music, the creation, or the financial benefit to go to the person. Or you invent a product, you should be recognized that you are the inventor and you should get the financial benefit of it, right? So to get that rights to the person or the creator, we have an intellectual property right. But at the same time, these rights also can be a double-edged sword. sometimes people gain the rights and they start making a monopoly of it, right? So the monopoly of it is also a challenge. So it has to be, and say, for example, right now we are in a like a mid of a pandemic, right? We don't know mid of the pandemic or a start of the pandemic or end of the pandemic, we don't know, right? So you have a vaccines or so many inventions are coming in, and new medicines are a thing. And if something a break through invention comes which can control this pandemic, and that is, if that is going to be controlled by one individual company, again it's a challenge, right? It may not be available for everyone, or if the cost may be get higher. So that monopoly is also a challenge. So how to strike a balance between this monopoly and also that monopoly, strike the balance means the public interest, right? And the innovators in interest. That to balance that public interest and the innovator interest is what the like intellectual property law was being framed. And at the same time, it should create an environment for the creators or the inventors to flourish. So if, for example, you are creating a product, and if you don't get the financial benefit of it, people will not come with new ideas. People will not invest in R&D. People will not, why this all the R&D government spends or the companies invest in R&D is to make benefit out of the new invention. If we don't get the benefit out of the new invention, see what happened, the investment towards R&D will be stopped. If invention towards the R&D is stopped, or the new things will not be created. If new things are not created, our life or the tomorrow will not be better than today. So to get that progress going in, right, you need to have, say, for example, say music, the person doesn't want to create a music because all these musics are being pirated and he don't get any benefits out of it, right? He will not be interested to or motivated to create a nice music to people, right? So to make this environment flourish, right, we have this intellectual property law and rights. There are multiple different types of intellectual property properties actually. Say we have a patent, trademark, copyright, we have a plant breeders right, utility, geographical indicated traits, and each comes are protected in by different types of law actually. And it's not like bounded by one law which manages everything, but each one has a different type of protection. Mainly the patent we will be going in detail. Patent is mainly for invention. Somebody invents something, how that invention to be protected is governed by the patent. The trademarks are something like a type of a representation, like you have a logo, right? Of an organization, right? Then that is a trademark. Trademark is to how a symbol or a representation can easily connect a business entity or any entity to easily connect, and that has to be protected. If that is being misused or been like if say same logo or the same name been misused by another to represent that a different entity, right, different company, then it becomes people will be misled with that type of thing. So there is a protection required for the trademark also. The copyright are mainly for expressions. Expression in sense like you have a song composed, or you have a paper written, or anything you express something, right? Or you write a software code, you express a logic into software code. Those type of things are being protected by the copyright. Then you have a plant breeders right, or more towards a biotechnology. Say for example, the famous case is like turmeric is the medical value of the turmeric is well known in India, and someone like in other countries, they have protected the medicinal property of the turmeric. So what happened was like to give the rights to the people who has been breeding this plant. For example, there may be a native people who have been growing a particular plant for years and years. They will be like the generation, and if they don't get the rights for that, any of the findings from it, that is not a fair way. So that to protect the plant breeders, right, we have a law that's called biodiversity laws. Then utility and design is mainly on the aesthetic, how an exterior look of it. You might have seen some cars, right? Some of the cars like a very high-end car having a shape, and you have another car coming with in those type of design been infringement happens also, that to protect that aesthetic aspect of it, that you have a utility model or the design. Then you have a geographical indicators, right? If some product has an unique properties related to a particular location, then that rights of that using the name of that particular person particular place has to be given to the people who living there or made up from that particular location, right? Those type of thing called geographical indication. Then trade secret. The trade secrets is like is again most trade secret is also like it's an invention, a protection. But if an organization, they don't want to give the protection to they want to control the protection within the organization. They don't want to, if for patent, you have to go and disclose that, you have to disclose the invention to the government. It means you have to tell the government what is the invention, and the government will give the rights and in turn will put the invention into a public forum, public place, I think. So they don't want that to, if they don't want that to do, and patent is also for some duration, it's only for 20 years. But if a company want to protect that invention for longer period, and they feel that someone cannot easily copy it, right? You know, say one famous thing is that Coca-Cola's formula, right? It is not patented. It has been kept as a trade secret, and that type of things comes under trade secret. Again, that is protected in terms of signing an agreements. We call this a non-disclosure agreement with the employees or the people who have access to it. So multiple classes of intellectual properties are there. So to know that which property protects what type of invention is an important. When it comes to a patent, right, which is the main topic for today, patent applies to the industrial process and the inventions, and it mainly protects the unauthorized implementation of the invention. Say a company comes with a new way of a camera, for example, a new way of a camera taking a picture in a mobile phone, right? And that is an invention. Say, for example, when someone blinks the eye, it has to take a picture, right? So those type of invention is being made by a company A, and if somebody they want to protect it, they will get a protection for the patent, and they can stop the other company using the same feature. That means against the unauthorized implementation of the invention. As I said, like this, patents are granted by the national government that give an exclusive right to the inventors or the owner of the patent, right? I would say the owner of the patent, then the inventor. There is a difference between the owner and the inventor. Exclusive rights to use or to sell or the manufacture the invention, right? So they're giving an exclusive rights is very, very important to the inventor. If they do, and they can stop others using it. Say in case like if they have an exclusive, somebody has to use it, they have to get a license or the rights from the owner of the patent. Right? So by giving the exclusive right to them, in turn they have to return disclosing the invention, the art, disclosing the invented to the public. That means this is the return what they have to do. The government will give, and see the process is like this. I have an invention. I go to the government and say, I want this invention to be protected. The government what will think, they will assess it and say that, yeah, this is something what you have is new. We will give a patent right for you. It will be protected. You can use it exclusively for 20 years. But in turn, you have to disclose the invention to the public. That means it will be put it in the public space, right? All the patents are in public space for your information. So all will be in the public space so that people can read it. After 20 years of the right or after the rights thing, it becomes a public knowledge. Anybody can use it after the 20 years of the protection, right? So what is a main criteria for a patent? For patent has to be, for a patent, it has to be novel. Novel means it has to be new. It has to teach something new in the particular area thing. Then other is a non-obviousness. You should not be a common knowledge.
बहुत
Prabhakar sir. Prabha,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm there, sir.
just can you mute all the participants?
Yes, sir. We have muted, sir. We have muted.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
Please proceed, sir. Please.
Okay. The other is non-obviousness is mainly on the, it is not a common knowledge in the particular field. That is a non-obviousness. And also you should have an industrial application. Without industrial application, we don't need to be, it cannot be a patented. It should have some invention, should have some application also. So it's the novelness, non-obviousness, and industrial application are three things are the mandatory requirement of a patent. Okay. So we need to understand what is the difference between an idea and the invention, right? Always these two things are being like crossly spelled. Idea is different, invention is different. Idea is not an invention. Idea is merely a definition of the problem in hand. Say, for example, I have a mobile phone. I want a mobile phone which can with 100 days battery life, right? If I say that I want a mobile phone which has a 100 days battery life, that is a type of an idea. But if it is an invention, it's a solution to the problem in hand. So if you have a battery design or the material of the battery design or the phone board which takes low power, and if you have that design and you make that mobile to work for the 100 days with the new method, then it becomes an invention. If you don't have the procedure to detect for reducing into practice, that means putting into practice or putting that into a implementation, then it is not it cannot be invention. And same time, when you put into practice, you should have some new way of doing it. If it is not a new way of doing it, if it is a known method of doing it, you are only combining the known method of doing it, or as a textbook information or some literature it is been said, and you are combining all this and you are putting into a practice, then it becomes an engineering practice. It is not an invention. So three things are different. Idea means it's just a problem in hand, what you want to do, right? Or then in invention, you know, then the second one, you need to know how to do it. And if you are very clear on how to put that into practice, and if the practice what you are making has some novel elements in it, some new things into it, then it becomes an invention. If there are no new things into it, then it becomes an engineering practice. Okay. So why we need innovations, are like, as we know, is completely the economy is driven by innovation. You say when you buy anything now or anything you buy, it has to be something new. People are not buying something like if you are buying a TV, they want a new feature. What is it? Buying a mobile, it's a new feature. Buying a car, what is a new feature in this car, right? Say anything is totally driven by innovation, right? It's totally driven by innovations. Thing you have an what do you call laptops. Even though laptops are being thing, there are new type of foldable laptops are coming, right? So anything. So managing the innovations is becoming a very, very important. The companies are growing mainly on the non-organic growth are happening, right? So non-organic growth are mainly due to the innovation. They come with an idea and they implement, demonstrate. The valuation of company goes 1,000 times in a day, right? So all these are like innovation. You would see so much of innovation around us, right? Every application we have in your mobile, right, is an innovation. You have an Uber, or Uber doesn't have any a car or a vehicle in their name. It's all like, but they are a software platform, but they are the largest, one of the largest travel company in thing which manages a lot, right? So you take anything like that, right? You say you take a Swiggy or Zomato, it's a platform. It's a platform. Or you take a hotel. All the type of innovative ecosystems are being created, right? So those type of innovation is driving the economy, right? See, what we need to understand between what is innovation and what is a change and what is an invention. Three things are there, or has a minor difference. A change is something like in voluntary or non-voluntary, you change it without focus on the benefit of it, right? I have an yellow shirt and I want to have a blue shirt. It is without any benefit. I'm just making a change. Then that is called as a change. It's not anything. But when the change is added with an benefit, and the benefit and the change is new, then it becomes an innovation. And the main thing is the creativity for it, right? Say the creativity. Say the creativity mainly like are driven by three things actually. You want to be creative. Creative is nothing but a state of creating new things actually, or generating new ideas. Three things are important mainly. If you want to be creative or you want to be innovative, first thing is a domain skill. If you are an electronics engineer, right, and you want to do something in a mobile electronics or anything, you should have an in-depth domain knowledge, right? The in-depth domain knowledge is very important so that you know what is the current state of art in the particular field. Without that, it's very, very difficult. And the second one, you know the domain knowledge, and at the same time, you should have a creative thinking skill, right? Creative thinking skill is mainly of any type of a lateral. Are you able to find new problems or new solutions, create new things in that? And the third one is a motivation to do new things. And mainly, are you having a motivation, or you have a courage to innovate, right? Are you inclined towards an innovation? These three things are very important, and it has to work in a coordinated way so that you have a creative things of it. Say people, some have a creative thinking but have a motivation, but if they don't have the domain skill, whatever we think may be sometimes fundamentally wrong, may not be feasible. We need to know which is feasible, which is not feasible also. So without just thinking and motivation, without domain skill, also it's a useless action. So I said, like we have. So say for innovation, right? So you need to have a change. To be creative, the change has to be creative, and you have a benefit. Then it will result in an innovation. So all these things need a type of a lateral thinking. So between invention and innovation, what is the difference? That it's again been sometimes crossly spelled actually. Invention is something you create a creation of a new product or the introduction of the process for the first time. You do something for the first time, then you have we usually referred as an invention. Innovation is something, on the other hand, occurs if someone improves or makes a significant contribution into that to an existing product or services, then it's an innovation. So the patents protection is both for invention and also for innovation. So maybe let's see if we can understand this problem, or someone can respond to this. Right? Say we might have seen this manhole in most of the places, right? Manhole in the roads we might have seen. Like some will be in a square shape, some will be in a circular space, right? So which one is advantageous? Whether the square is advantageous or circle is advantageous, or if anyone is advantageous, why? Anyone can make an attempt.
Students, you can unmute yourself and you can ask more. Students?
Sir, it's a guess. Actually, sir, this is Praveen.
Yes, sir.
Actually, if it's a square shape, we'll be having the concentration at the edges. So there might be a breakage near the square. I mean, so if any heavy vehicles move on it, so there is a chance of damage.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So if it's a circle, I think the loads get evenly distributed so that, and one more disadvantage in circular shape is, I think it might go inside, or it can tilt. I mean, it can flip. so that if any rain or anything occurs, there might be a accident in case of a circular thing.
Okay, sir.
So
Okay.
both has its advantages and disadvantages, sir.
Yeah.
Maybe I might be right or wrong. I don't know.
No, sir, there is no right and wrong answer. I think that there is one main advantage. Let me explain that. If anyone want to give a try.
This is Prabhakaran, sir, from Biomedical. So
Yes,
I
sir.
feel like this square type of manhole is very more difficult to handle, since if we open that, we need to have two capacity load, like one person should stand here and the other person should stand there, and maybe by the lifting would be more difficult and compared to the round type of manhole, where the lifting would be much easier when compared to that. So this is my perspective.
Yeah,
And that's
good,
where it
sir.
is right now. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir. Myself, Rajat. Actually, the circumference of the square will be more compared to circle. So we can accommodate the surface area just like this. My concept is that.
Okay.
Very good. Nice. Nice.
Good, sir. Say, let me give my one more advantages. See, the thing is like each one we have a problem. Each one thinks of a new solution or comes with a new advantage, right? That is the art of being creative. That's a one very important thing, to see some new advantages from anything. See, the main thing was that the major advantage why people move from square to circle. The circle is seen as a more advantageous. The reason is, right, the square one can be dropped if it is dropped across a diagonal. If you say, if people are lifting it and if it falls, right, if it falls on the diagonal, the whole square can drop inside actually. But when you take a circle, where you cannot, the lid cannot drop inside, and if you drop it and even accidentally, if it been, cannot be dropped at all. So it has to any size to think here. Is that make sense? Can you understand, sir? Like,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I
Yes,
think
sir. Yes,
both are having the advantage and disadvantages, sir.
yes, correct. Both
Yeah.
having advantages and disadvantages. There's no doubt about it. Both
Yes,
having.
sir.
This was the main thing. You say someone has seen it and made a simple change of making it into a circle, but that has solved a lot of problem in that particular corporation, that it
Yeah.
doesn't fall inside. There were many leads have been falling inside. They changed the shape to circle and they avoided that problem. And
Yes,
it's not that the square is not advantage. There may be some advantage, like what
Yes, yes.
few of the participants were saying. The square is one thing. So looking at it, this is another skill which we will talk about it. How to find new benefits out of it also is another skill to be an innovator. Okay. So like let me go. Some of the new innovation in very recent times, right? The recent times are like some interesting one. It's called talking aids, right? It's not a type of a device for an hearing challenged people. It's a device where it can help us in talking. That means it can it will listen to the people who speaks to you, and if there are any questions, it can give information to you to answer the questions. And also it also can stream music. It can also do some translation. If somebody talks in different language, you want to translate it, it can translate, and it can monitor how much time you are speaking, with whom you are been speaking. All those things it can monitor and give you some insights about your activities. I mean, speaking activities. So this was one cool invention happened recently. Then you have a visual made on for people are visually challenged, right? So it takes camera and it gives some audio information. There is something called the new thing came. It's called backseat gaming. This again like a type of a virtual reality headgear where you can watch someone else playing some video games and give your commentary or give your views to it, right? So those type of things also it came in like type of an new things. And there is a pro video made easy. It's a type of a camera where an individual can do a shooting on or type of a video recording. It can, if once you focus, wherever the people move, the camera can track and take the video in all 360 degrees actually. So for making a single person to make some movie or thing, that was like a type of one cooling. This is a type of a bed actually, where based on the people position and the sleeping pattern, the shape and pressures changes accordingly. Similarly for the chair, right? We all most of times we use it now. Pandemic mode usage is more actually. Like the chair also based on the people's the back spine, right, and or the pressure point, the shape of the chairs automatically changes and adapts to it, that so that like you have a better comfort. These are some of the few, say these are like these are some problems, right? We might have seen day to day, right? The chair we might be having problem. The bed may not be very accommodative for people, or a video you need someone assistance to do, or you have a translation is a challenge. And these are type of things where someone has thought we can make a solution. He was dare enough to think that a solution can be made, and he came up with this type of an solution to it. So this is a dareness to create is very important. So the other interesting fact is that the bread, right? It has been invented 10,000 years ago, or some they say 14,000 years ago in 18,000 BC, or 8,000 or some thing more than 10,000. The bread has to be the major food for a section of people. But the slicing of the bread was invented only in 1928. Right? The bread has to be in more than 10,000. But the idea of putting the bread into slices using right, that came in only in 1928. So there is no limit, or there is no lack for innovations. Every field has a scope for innovation. Everywhere, like you will see that the innovations can be made. Okay, so how to innovate, right? Or how to innovate? Mainly, first we need to see that like daily when you are working in an engineering field, right? You are innovating something, you are solving something in a new way of doing it, right? Whenever there is a difficulty coming in, right? You don't have a physical interaction. You want to pass a bouquet and you don't have it. You come up with a new idea. Can it be? So that every day when there's a problem, we are doing something new, because the problems are not same every day for us, right? So it differs. So that is something. And what we need to do, right? When you are working in engineering, or working in a project, or working in a type of a lab, and you solve some problem, what you have to do is like, we have to see that whether are there any new thing we have done here to solve it? Are there any innovative step in you are building some product, and you see, are there any innovative problem out there? The second thing you have to see it, eye for problem. Always like you have to look at, are there any problems here? Are there any problems in this particular equipment? Are there any problem for it? So that is very important. So if you are coming with a solution, whether the solution is giving new benefits, right? Then it also becomes an invention. So there are some like some people will be very good in identifying the problem, right? When there isn't something is been explained, they can list down what are the problems here. Some people will be very good in giving, when you say a problem, they will not be able to identify the problem, but when you say a problem, they will give a solution. Some will be, you give a problem, you give a solution, then there will be some people who will be able to extend the benefit of the solution for multiple things, or they will be able to find new benefits out of the solution, right? Those are the key things, like all these things are we are very key for an innovations. So let me not go here. Say mainly like framework, what we need to do, the first step is to build expertise in the field of the art. Wherever you want to be, we should build the expertise and aware of the advancement, what is happening today. Then identify the problem, have a lateral thinking, then prove that it is feasible to do. Then only we can go for a protection, right? I'll skip these things. Okay. Say the primary factors for an intellectual property, right? I said it has to be new. Newness has to be there. The feasibility or the implementation has to be known. How to implement it is very important. Without the implementation, right? we cannot protect it because it will become just an idea. It will not be an invention. Then we may have to have what is the commercial benefit out of what product it's going to be applied, and what is the advantage of it, then applicability of it. Are there any alternatives? This is very important. Say why we need, why an industry goes for an or any individual goes for a patent, means they have invented something new and they want to protect it so that they will be able to get the commercial benefit of it, right? So that's where they are doing. But when you protect something new, right? Say for example, to reach your college, right? You have a 2-3 routes to go it, and 2-3 routes to go it, and you protect only one route to it, right? And say you cannot protect or you cannot stop anyone going to your college, right? There may be other ways to go to your college and people will still reach it. Similar way, when there are alternatives to get the same solution, then the protecting that pattern will not be an what you call it. It's not a right way. It will not make a business sense to do it actually. When there are no ways to do it and it's the only way to do it, or the other ways are difficult to do it, then going for a protection is important. At least we should be aware of what are the alternative ways you can achieve this particular solution. If you know the alternative ways, can you protect that all the ways to achieve the solution? For example, we take the same example of the mobile phone with a battery life of 100 days, right? If there is only one material to do that particular battery, then it becomes a very strong pattern. It becomes a very strong pattern. But there are 10 different material can give then protecting that one material will not be of any use at all. Others will come with a different, and this pattern will not be a valuable pattern at all. Okay, so we need to know what are the alternatives also we should be knowing. Okay, so how to know that? See, the other things I said the step to achieve is important. The conceiving the steps to practice, right? That means convincing steps. See that for a pattern, you don't need a prototype or you don't need a working model, right? You can go with the concept on a paper, and if you have a description or you have a convincing steps, the convincing steps means if you can convince that by doing this step 1, 2, 3, and with this design, you can achieve this product or achieve this solution, then that can become a pattern. But you need to have that clarity. We cannot say there are many things we see in a practical. Say that you have a problem of like automatically replying an email, an example, right? Automatically you get an email, then you say that how you do it. People say that I will use artificial intelligence to reply an email. Then that is not an invention. Artificial intelligence to reply means what type of artificial intelligence, how that will work, and if you are making that to work, what is a novel elements you have brought in, that has to be there. Or you need to, or if I write a pattern application, if somebody reads it, should be able to implement or able to reproduce the invention, right? If they cannot reproduce the invention, that means you don't have a convincing steps to put into practice, right? So this is very important. I said no prototype, or you have an efficient, efficient alternate method can be anything. Say for example, there are already patterns are available. So many inventions are available. You take that invention and you come with an alternate way of doing it, or an alternate way, and it's an efficient way of doing it. Then that can also be a pattern. It is not that, as I said, let me take the same example by having a route to or a road route to your college. If a road route to your college, there are 3 routes to your college, right? And you find a 4th route, a shortest route or convenient route to your college, right? That can also be a pattern. That means reaching your college is not protected. The way you are reaching your college, it's what comes under protection. That means the final end product or end solution is not protected. The ways to achieve that, right? The steps to achieve that is what comes under the protection. I mean, if I make a mobile phone which can last for 100 days of battery, say I have a, say, let me take Samsung finds an invents an mobile phone where it can battery can last for 100 days, and they are patenting the technology or the patenting the battery design, right? If an Apple can also come with another mobile phone which can last for 100 days, but they can come with a new material or new battery design, right? If they come with a new battery design, then they can also produce the same mobile phone with 100. But that is an alternate ways of doing it, right? So it is not that the phone with 100 days is protected. It's an how to do that is what comes under the protection. Okay. So other thing we need to know, I said, you need to know whether your invention is new or already available. To know that, right, we have to do something called a prior art. Prior art to know what is currently available in that particular field. So the prior art you can do like you need to know the right keywords for searching it, right, to determine whether new or not. Mainly you can use Google Scholar or Google Patents or Gestia Patent, there is a site, or you can use United States Patent Trademark Office website or the Indian Patent Office website, right? You can search and see that, like, and read the patents, read the literature, and you can come see that, like, whether whatever you are thinking like as new is already available or it's purely a new. So always, like, it's very important, when you want to get into patents, you have to better to read the patent. Actually, what you will understand the patent. Usually patent has three things: a background, details, and claim. The claims are little legally or vaguely written actually to make it broader, right? Say why to make it broader, I'll tell you. For example, I said, right, mobile phone with 100 days of battery life. They will not, in the patent document, they will not say that it's a mobile phone. They will say a handheld device or a computing device. Then it may be the same battery, same method can be applied for my laptop also, or my tablet also, or anything, or a handheld or a computing device. It can be for a PC also, right? So to make it very generic, it's how the claims are being written, right? So if you read the background details, you will understand about the pattern. And if we can say that whether you have an alternate ways of doing also, you can come up with that. The other thing is very important to know is technology from one device to another device is not a novel. Say you have some feature, some options in your mobile phone, and you want to bring that same option into your TV, right? When you make that, that will not be considered as a novel. It is considered as an engineering practice. I mean, you take one technology from one device and you apply the same technology in another device, that is not a novel. But when you apply, if you solve a new problem or you solve a different problem, then that can be a pattern also, but that has to be studied detail. Okay. So we need to know, I said, right, engineering practice and the innovation. What is the difference? If you have a force, for example, I'm just putting a thing for a product, right? A new product or solution, you have 4 steps to achieve that. And all the 4 steps are known steps, right? You are using a circuit design, which is a known circuit design, and you are using an type of an integration. You are using a type of an operating system you are loading, it's a known method, and you are packaging in a known method. All 3-4 are known. Then it is that we call it as an engineering practice. But if your step 1 and step 2 are known, and step 3 something you are coming with a new way of doing it, then you achieve a new product, then it becomes an invention. And you have a other way of it also. Step 1, step 2, and step 3 is new, and it's also a same known product, but you are doing it in known product or solution. You are doing it in a different way, a new way. Then also it becomes an invention. So the main thing is the novel element has to be very clear. So how to identify the novel element, right? You are building a project or anything. How to identify whether it is a new or which is an intellectual property? How to do it? So first we call it a ruling out principle. So you have to list down the steps to achieve the solution, right? List down all the steps you are thinking. Whether then you find whether the solution what you have is a combination of the known step or something is new. If it is a combination of known step, as said, it becomes an engineering practice. Or you can say, or any alternate step can improve the performance or efficiency or reduce the cost. That is another check you can see. Again, I said, it is, you need not patent, you need not produce it, or you need not build a physical product, or you don't need a prototype also. A thought process is good enough, and thought process to implement is there, and steps to implement is there, it is good enough. Say you for a pattern, right? So, and you have your creation, if it's novel enough, then it qualifies for the protection. The other thing we need to know is mainly the patents are, you file patents for commercial protection. Whether you are unless you have a plan for monetizing a patent, then patent is not a conference or a journal paper to publish. Let me put it very straight. Patents are mainly to protect the commercial interest of being copied, right? So when you have a patent, we should have a plan how you are going to monetize it, how you are going to make a return of that investment of the patent or the return of it. Yeah, otherwise filing a patent alone, right? It doesn't make sense, because when something is new, you are going for protection. It's something like we are putting a fence where there is no one is going to interested in coming into that particular place, right? So you have to see whether it's worth patenting and do a cost and return analysis, right? And also we need to know when and where to file patent, right? It's very important when and where to file. If you are going to, and depends on the patent is on rights are geographical connected. That means you are filing a patent in India, the patent protection is only in India. If you are filing in, if somebody is copying in India, you can stop it. If you are filing a patent in US, it is protected in US alone. There are some patent called as we call as PCT patents, where with one application you can file in multiple places. You can file in multiple places, but the protection is, again, it is a geo-oriented. It is geographically limited. Patent protection is limited. Actually. So we have to see if my product is not going into China at all, right? Then I don't need to file a patent in China. I can file in where my product is going to be used. If my product is going to be used only in US, and filing in India will not make any the right option at all. The other thing we need to know is, right, once you file a patent, it is not that you file a patent in India, someone can file the same thing in US. It cannot be, because once you file your patent, whatever you have invented will be put into one public database, a patent database. That means it became a public information, right? Once it became public information, other people cannot file for patent. Okay, so that is also one other thing. See, when I say the return, right, the return doesn't mean that you can you have to make a product and sell. That is not a, maybe that may not be in an academic thing to make a product and sell or make a marketing out of it. There can be many methods of monetizing. You can license a patent, right? You can license a patent to someone who makes it. That also is a way of monetizing. Okay, so the return and versus cost and where to file is very important. Even filing, the earlier you file is advantageous. Once you delay it, it becomes it's a challenge. Someone might have filed it, or someone might have thing, and you might have publicly disclosed the idea. I mean, you might have presented, or you might have given a talk, or anything. If you make public, then that will not qualify for a patent at all. There is again another thing. In India, if you are filing, if you are already releasing a product, right? Releasing the product, then you cannot, already product comes to a market, then filing for patent is a challenge. In US, the product is already in the market, then you within a year you can go for a filing for patent. So there is two different approaches between the developing countries and developed countries. Developed countries are more stringent or more strict in patent protection. They are more inclined towards an inventions. Actually, the developing countries are more inclined towards public interest. They want invention, and they want the invention to be get into a low cost for the people, right? So the patent protection are in India, the patent protection for agriculture products, agricultural equipments were not there till 2015 or something. Or later it became like and anything made out of the plant cannot be patented earlier. Now slowly, due to international pressure, international requirement, right? They're called world economic treaties are there, where countries are being forced to change the patent rules actually to gain advantage. So that you say if you are inventing an US based pharma company to India, they are coming with a new medicine. If someone can decode the medicine and make a generic medicine, the whole business will be lost. So they are pressuring government to give a strong patent right. Again, this is the debate, and this is the balance which is like going on, and it'd be interesting to understand about patent in the pharma side. Okay, so the other thing, when you write your patent documents or we can use some lawyers to do it, but first we need to write it in an invention disclosure format. What is the invention you are making? You have to describe what is a problem, solution, then description, what is advantage, then you have a prior art. The other is a deductibility. Is another concept you be important to know. Say when you make a patent, right? Why you want to protect it? Someone will copy that patent. If your patent is something in an hardware or in an algorithm, in an ASIC, actually in an algorithm in a processor, that means nobody can identify it at all. Nobody, unless you do a lot of reverse engineering, then to go for a patent or not is an other challenge. Other thing, if something in algorithm in a chip, if somebody is copying it, how you will know? So for example, Apple copies an power optimization algorithm from a Samsung, for example, right? How they copy the patent document is already in the public space, and they want to take it and they want to implement the same in their mobile phones, right? How will a Samsung will find it, right? That is called detectability. Whether your invention is easy to detect, means easy to identify if someone is copying, right? If your pattern is easy to identify if someone copies, then it becomes a stronger pattern. If your pattern is not easy to identify or easy to find if someone has copied, it becomes a less stronger. I will not say weak, it's less stronger. So, and just checking time. Okay. So what we need to articulate is more than what your pattern does. Here we need to explain how the idea is realizable, means how the idea can be put into practice, right? So all the type of the writing is very, very important. You have to write it crystal clear on how this been put into practice. If you know other ways of doing it also, you have to cover it. You have to write all the other alternate ways also as much as possible, so that your pattern becomes a broader. See, additional insights, I would say, like again, I think it's a territorial rights, and it's mainly for 20 years mainly. Say the many countries, right? The scientific theories or the aesthetic creation, mathematical model, plant or animal varieties, the discovery of natural substances, right? Commercial methods, right? Method for medical treatment, right? Or computer programs are not generally patentable. Country to country, it varies actually, right? So if you take in India and US, majorly, any mathematical formula cannot be patented, or any abstract idea means without any application, right? Abstract idea cannot be patented. A software code cannot be patented. Right? So we need to understand this also. Patents on software, right? You come with an algorithm, right? Say a signal processing algorithm you're finding out, or image processing, whether it can be patented or not. It's a question. It's a debatable question actually. It's possible, but how to make it possible or what elements are required, we need to know. So mainly the copyright protection is available for software, means how you express it, right? You are having a method to calculate a Fourier transform, right? And that when how you may be expressing the code in a different way, I may be explaining the code or writing the code in different way. So that is the expression. The expression is protected by the copyright. The concept is protected by the software, right? Or the concept behind it, the concept behind it is not protected in the copyright. The concept is mainly has to be protected by the patent actually, or the patent or the like how to protect it. Let me come to that. So the concept achieve the technical function, right? Such as controlling the machine or the processing data. So the current that is usually protected by the we call the patents. Whatever we are discussing, it comes under utility patent, right? The utility patent definition is is a process, machine, manufacture, or composition of material. Only these four can be protected as per the definition of utility patent, right? Again, I repeat: process, machine, manufacture, or composition of material. The software doesn't comes into this picture at all in the utility patent. So there was one interesting or important case here. We call this an Allies Corporation with CLS Bank. Mainly what happened was like this Allies Corporation, they came with a software for identifying the risk in the trading, actually, the share trading. They came with the software. Then what happened? The CLS Bank said, right, this is a common practice. Only thing they are making into a software. It is an ordinary mental process, right? Ordinary mental process. Then this patent was cancelled. The Allies Corporation patent was cancelled, was quashed actually. So what that the ruling, the judgment gave is anything an abstract idea or something you calculate out of a human process, mental process, like a billing software or an ERP software, which are like we are doing it, we can do it mentally, but we are putting a software because of the scale involved and because of the storage involved. So those type of things are not protected under the patent actually. When you take up an artificial intelligence, we're talking a lot of artificial intelligence now, right? So artificial intelligence is nothing but automating the human mental process, right? The thinking or the reasoning or decision making is a human mental process. So when you are not able to protect the mental process, how to protect any of the artificial intelligence is again another questions which is being debated actually, right? So there is so what can be patented, what cannot be patented? Say anything, right? Any pre-existing business practice or a pre-existing thing, you just convert it into a software that cannot be patented. But you are having a technical function of the software, that you are using a software to control a machine. You are processing the data, or you are writing and managing a data. Technically, you are managing the database, or how you read it, or how you are managing a software to control a camera.
Sir, Prabhakar sir, can you mute?
Yeah, I think
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm doing, sir. Muted, sir.
Thank
so
you.
the technical function of the software, you are writing a software to compute efficiently. You are you are making a calculation. You want to make the calculation with a reduced memory utilization, or you are making a software which can calculate certain processing faster, right? Those type of technical function which are software which makes a hardware to perform better, right? Those type of software functionalities can be patented. Let me not go here into detail here, but we always, when you're going for a software based patent, we have to be very careful to, when you write anything on a software patent, always it's good to tie that software within hardware, and how this software is interacting with the hardware is very important, so that will make the patent eligible. Otherwise, pure software, right, which cannot be patented. Okay, so we need to like understand what are the different patent strategies being followed. Some people, for some companies, file patent, right? Mainly they want to offensive strategy. I mean, they don't want a particular anyone to enter into a proprietary technology. They have a particular technology and they don't want others to enter the technology. So they will go left and right, they will file pattern around the technology so that others, they don't get into the proprietary technology. That is called the offensive pattern study. Defensive pattern study, they obtain only two type of an, like the defensive is mainly strategy obtaining the pattern protection without necessarily intending to assert. They don't want to enforce, they don't stop others, or how to put it, like their intention is not to stop others, their intention is only to protect them, right? Only to protecting their product, they go for a pattern. That's called defensive patterning. See that there are something like the mainly like company files primarily to protect their innovation can be used without the risk of a competitor. Now many things are becoming digital, people are copying the idea becomes easier, right? So again, like some visual representation of it, right? So you have a pattern, and if you competitor patterns, right, you can easily assume that it's a space. So you can bypass that your pattern, and they can get into an access to the technology. Or if a strategic patterning is mainly if there is only one way to reach and you are blocking with your pattern, right? Blocking with your blue color is your pattern, and say the red is or orange is a competitor pattern, right? So you block here the one, then it will stop all other R&D direction towards that. That is called a strategy. The other way, what they do is, right, a competitor is having a pattern in a particular technology, they will file pattern around that particular pattern, multiple pattern, so that the competitor pattern cannot be used at all or cannot be grown at all. They cannot be extended. So they will try to think. So the competitor will be forced to get into an agreement to use the pattern. They have to cross license to use. The other they call pattern fence. Pattern fence is, right, you know what you have a new technology and you don't want others to enter it. So you file multiple patterns around that as a fence so that others don't come in. Here the fence, you need to know exactly where to put a fence. Then you can, with a minimal number of pattern, you can stop others. But you don't know where is the fence, you don't know how to put the fence, then you go for a pattern blanketing. You file left and right patterns on that area so that others don't come into them. So this type of different strategies are being followed. There is another thing to know is the patent troll. It's a type of a negative legal weapon actually. What they do, these are the people's company, they are not a technology company. They don't, their intention is not to create a product or come up with the new ideas. They will go and buy patents from different companies. They will buy patents and they try to file legal case against larger companies, right? So for example, a company A will buy a patent in the mobile technology and they will file a case against an Apple and say that they are infringing, they are violating the company A's patent. They will, so what happens when you file a case, the Apple has to spend money legally to defend that, right? So then otherwise they will come, if there is some level of chances of like overlap, they will come for a compromise and they will settle. This type of a negative thing also are happening. So these are they are called a patent trolls. There is a statistic nearly in the Fortune 500 company, the top 100 companies, US company, and found that the top 35 companies were sued. That means legally claimed, right? Combined about nearly 500 times for the patent infringement in the last 1 or 2 years actually. So this is a level of a legal things happening also. So most of the companies, what they need to get defense, to get protected against these patent trolls, they are filing patents to defend them actually. So when the patent troll comes for a thing, they can again go and say that we already have a patent which is much earlier than your patent, so your patent has to be cancelled. That's the other reason people are afraid of these trolls and they are filing for it. So in the process, lot of money is wasted, which might be used for innovation. See, when you want to understand what is happening in a particular area, who is dominating is going to dominate in that particular area, in a particular field, right? It is good, two things to watch. One, you have to watch the technical publication, who is making a lot of publication in the area. which country or which company or which university is making. Mainly you take about inventions, you if you look at the something called pattern landscape. This is another thing you can also look at it. Pattern landscape. When you look at the pattern landscape, you can see which company is filing patterns in which area. When you take a machine learning area, you can see companies like IBM, Microsoft, Toshiba. These are the companies which are making a leading. They file about 8,000 to 7,000 to 8,000 patents. Actually, they are holding. The interesting things, if you see that there are Chinese Academy of Science or the Electronic Telecommunication. These are the Chinese universities. They are filing a lot of patents in machine learning area, which has to be washed out by Indian universities, right? What is the why they are going for this pattern? Say when they go for pattern, it's going to be the rights are going to be with these companies or with these universities. So there's a lot of things happening like in the AI space. Even you say here, like mainly the Chinese dominance, right? It's very high, right? Mainly like when you say about more than 100 institutions are being like filing for patents in this area, where in China and like US are only have a 20, and say in the top 500, nearly 100 are Chinese institutions who makes a number. So by technology, by technology or by region, right? You can look at the pattern landscape to understand what is happening around. This mainly for like if you are, for example, you want to have a startup and you want to have a plan to enter into an multinational operation, right? So you need to know whether I have this product, right? Whether I'll be able to have a freedom to operate in which are the countries, whether I'll have a freedom to operate, or what is the competition is growing. You have to watch out. You want to be an entrepreneur, you have to watch out your competitors, right? And you have to watch out how competitive your field is there, how attractive is your industry is there, right? Those type of things are very, very important. See, attractiveness of an industry is very important. You want to enter into a renewable energy, for example. You have to understand how attractive your industry is there. Who is your supplier? Who is your consumer, right? What is the political effect of it? What is the economical effect of it? What is the technological effect in that particular industry? Those type of things you need to understand. And one important thing in the technology space is what the pattern landscape is there. I'm just skipping this. Say when you go for a pattern or thing, always think like a venture capitalist. You are going to invest on a pattern, right? Mainly to stop others from exploiting, right? What purpose of the pattern is mainly to stop others from exploiting. So what we need to see that, right, when you invest in a pattern, how you are going to get returns out of it is very important, right? So you can do an licensing, or sometimes you have more pattern in the area. A particular company has more pattern in the area. They get nomination into the standard boards actually. Say you have standards for multiple technical things, right? For ISO standards or IEEE standards. The company which has more strong voice, right? Will get into a nomination in the. There are other like defensive publication. This is another strategy what they do. If you don't want to patent it, then and you don't want others to patent it also, they will publish it. They will put it in a forum or anywhere you think. So you can use it anytime. Others also can use it anytime. That is called defensive publication. Okay. So this type of a lot of strategies are there. So patent filing is just an application, I said, right? When you file patent, you are applying that it is new. Only the patent grant is a registration. Once you are granted with patent, then you can. Once you think, you need to have also a geo-filing strategy where you are going to use it, right? So always like when you this is very important in terms of the innovation management, how this pattern is going to give a competitive advantage, how it is business aligned, right? Knowing your customer, how to execute it, business, how it's going to add the business values are very, very good. Say one example I will say, these are some of the startup artificial intelligence chip companies, like semiconductor companies, startups in last year actually. So you can see they come up with some new invention and they are protecting their IPs, right? This is $1 million, right? You say it's a $460 million. This Graphcore has gained investment. Say this Sambanova system have gained 470. So much of investments are coming in when you have an invention, a real competitive advantage invention, and you protect it with a patent, then the money to operate, money to business is not a challenge at this point at all. Only you need to have a right strategy, right invention, knowing what is the feature and working on it and protecting it, rightly protect. You have a one strong dot in the patent space in a growing thing, and your organization will be $1 million organization. But that is rightly finding is what you need to do. So anything of a filing patents thing, what you file is very, very important. Okay. Thank you. If you have any questions, we can discuss. I hope I am on time.
Sir, thank you so much for your wonderful tips, sir. Sir, we have some few questions on the chat box. So first question is like, after filling my idea in IP office, how can I product my idea? Is the first question in the chat box, sir.
Okay, let me see. When you file for an IP office, you can directly go for making a product. So once you file it, the day you file it is your priority date. So from the day you file it, you have the rights to go and make the product. If somebody comes with doing the product, you can always stop them when you get to the grant and say that if you have. See, there is a challenge, I'll tell you. In India, when you file for patent, the filing to patent grant is taking too much time. Actually, it's taking too much time. So, but I feel like for the startups, I think there are some fast track solutions are coming in where you have to use that for. And when there is a query from the patent office, you have to reply it as quick as possible, so that the time you have to make the time shorten to get into a grant. Again, going back to your question, when you find you have to see how you want to get into a go-to market for your product, but your product has something new and you feel that so you have some advantage, it's better to file for patent.
Thank you, sir. And I have another question from Anandan. Like, any tips for identifying project title?
Okay, say project title is again, right? See, there are many emerging areas out there. Many emerging areas. Some there are some in computing side actually. Like you say, working on type of edge devices, edge server. When you say edge device, whether how you can because the whole thing happening in an industry now is how you can reduce the power, how you can reduce the memory utilization. That is related to the cost of it, right? So anything you work on this type of thing in this area, computing area, right? Or we call it a distributed AI or federal AI learning. These are a thing. Again, the project, if you are very specific, which department or which subject you are there, right? We can think, but always look for some journals or conferences which has some practical application, right? Practical application, and what you choose for product has to be aligned with what is your aspiration also. If you want to go for higher studies, you can choose some projects which are more research oriented thing. If you're going for a type of if you're looking for a job, take a project where you can practice the current state tools into it, right? Say current tools in a Java or anything you want to build it. What are the current tools? Whether you can put the tools into practice in your project. That is another. You are looking for a job. You are going for an entrepreneur. Then are you the product what you want to make? Whether that any initial works can be done. Say end of the day, your project should add additional points into your curriculum, right? in your CV, what you are going to do, right? Every word you add it, you should have you have to see how maximize you can add into your CV. The project is one thing where you can practice the learning or put your skills into it, right? The more latest technologies or the industry relevant technologies you want to put it that into your practice. Say you can build a type of a software, but which tool you are going to use for thing, if that is going to be an industry look skill, that will be good.
Thank you, sir. We have another question. How to find the solution for any problem like pollutions or drainage issues in India. So any tips from this, sir?
See, this is a very generic question. I'm not expert in that area of like the pollution or thing. See that, but this is another area we call it as a sustainability, right? Sustainability is a huge thing coming up into it, and all industries are now focusing on the sustainability of it. Sustainability of it. You are an industry, how you are going to control your pollution. Say for example, in the power sector, right? The power sectors, the pollution is thermal pollution is a major problem. There are some reactors coming in which is going to improve the efficiency of the coal burning thing. So those type of thing, understanding that area, like how it is some super reactors are coming in where you make more efficiency out of the coal burning, or how to process the outcomes or the subproducts of any of the manufacturing, right? The power or any industry, right? You come out of it and how you are going to process it, right? That is a very, very demanding field, right? That treating the industrial output, that is called, we call this a sustainability area. That is a huge area, and if you are picking a career in that area, you will have a very good future.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the answers. And one more question. It's like writing skills is different compared to journal paper. Any tips, sir?
Veera
Munishwaran has asked this question.
Coming in, sir, writing?
Yeah, writing skill is different compared to journal paper. So it's like a vague question.
Sir, he's telling that the pattern we are following some procedure now, so for filing and amendments or some words we are using. Journal and all just for knowledge only. Knowledge we are writing for step by step, and this is my objective. This is our implementation.
Yes,
this is output. But pattern is generally different, no, sir. He's asking that why there are some difference like that.
Okay.
Prabhakar, my point is clear.
Yes, sir. I think it's correlated with the question, sir. Yes.
Thank you.
See the pattern. So I would say this is a very good question. Actually, the pattern, right? See, there are two components. One is a government, other is a private body, right? Or the industry which you want to, which is disclosing the one. What government's stand will be how to make this invention public, how to make it very clear for the public. They will try to understand. I want to write, but the company which is disclosing, they don't want to be very clear to the public so that others can copy it. So they want to be very vague actually. They want to be very vague. They will say it in a very vague, a method, a step, right? Or one of the embodiments of this one can be something like that. They will use a very abstract language so that it's not easily understood by the people to copy. One thing. The other one is like more they want to make it as generic as possible so that they can cover many things. They don't want to restrict it to it a thing. So it is a balance. The government want to be restricted or put a boundary or put what they can think. The company, they want to make it very, or the company or the applicants will try to make very generic so that they can go on the claim or implement this pattern rights in multiple places. Right? You take a mobile pattern, they won't call it as a cellular phone alone. Like a cellular phone, they will say cellular phone is also included. They will say like any type of digital devices. So that is a balance they are trying to. and you don't worry about writing in that way. You write it in a normal English, a normal way of it, and then that will be job is for a pattern lawyer to do it. Then you have to take it to a lawyer to draft it and submit it. And if you don't, if you directly write it and submit it, it may not be, we may not be qualified to write efficiently. Actually, if you don't write efficiently, then the purpose of the pattern itself will not be solved. Again, I think purpose of the pattern is to stop others using it or to gain some differentiating or the rights for it, right? When you gain rights for it, you have to make use of the rights.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for answering all the questions. So is there any other things to be answered, participants?
Faculty, students, would write us any question?
You can unmute yourself and ask.
Okay. Prabhakar sir, we can go
Yes,
for
sir.
next. Sir, Sai Narayan sir, thank you sir for sharing your full knowledge from starting to end. Pattern, what is how to find the innovation, how to make a good pattern, sir. Thank you very much on behalf of AVTs as well. Thank you, Narayan. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you.
Thanks, Lord. Now
Padmapriya, yes.
what are thanks to?
Yes, sir. Thank you
1
so
minute,
much.
1 minute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, on behalf of AVIT, we are inviting to visit our IPR cell, sir. We have separate IPR cell and innovation cell. When you have free time, please come and visit our institute, sir.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate your efforts in taking efforts from the IPR mainly, sir, because that is an thing which is lagged in most of the institutions. I think awareness of it. See, when I say that filing for pattern at this stage in a college or in the university, creating the awareness itself is a big achievement for the students to do, so that when it is not that the next day there'll be a patent filed and a commercialization. It's a long process.
Yes, it's a big process. It's
a big process, and it is going to be lifelong. This information will be helpful for the students.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for my
in making a starting point and an awareness itself is a big impact for anyone who is pursuing this technical career.
Sure, sir. Thanks for blessing, sir. Thank you. Now, Prabhakar, sir, you can take for next step.
Yeah, yes,
Prabhakar,
Padmapriya, you can move forward.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Really, the session was very informative for us. Now I request Mr. or Praveen sir, President for IIC AVIT, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you.
It's my immense pleasure to propose a formal vote of thanks. Before proposing a formal vote of thanks, I would like to share some glimpse of our IIC events and what are the initiatives what we take in our institution to our today's chief guest. We have nearly 10,000 square feet of Ganeshan Incubation and Entrepreneurship Center, which is an upcoming facility for providing entrepreneurship, incubation, and IPR related activities, sir. And we have an actively functioning IIC Institution Innovation Council in our institution, which has been actively involved in so many events related to IPR, entrepreneurship, startups, and other related activities. And we are one of the institutions who had bagged 4 out of 4 stars for this current academic year and 5 stars rating from MHRD IIC. For past 2 years, we have been getting maximum stars for the events which we have organized. And some of the upcoming facilities, like we have nearly 8 startups to be incubated and functioning in our campus itself. So this would be one of the highlighting future where we'll be having lot of innovative ideas and incubations, which we will be working on it. So this is what it's a glimpse of what we are doing. And coming to our student involvement, we actively participate in so many events. Some of the remarkable events, nearly 80 ideas have been submitted to National Innovation Contest, out of which one has been selected and it has been funded by MHRD IIC for nearly 4 lakhs. Bhupati sir is a mentor for that. Thank you very much, Bhupati sir, for doing this. And one of our student alumni who has incubated an medical organ box, and he has submitted an idea to MSME, and he has got a fund of nearly 15 lakhs from MSME. And these are some of our remarkable achievements in our IIC, sir. It's for your information, sir. So now it's my pleasure to propose a formal vote of thanks on behalf of Institution Innovation Council, IIC, and IPR Cell, and the AVIT Center for Continuing Education, ACCE. I thank our today's resource person, Dr. G. Sainarayanan sir, Technology Director, HCL Technologies, Chennai, for accepting our invite. And he has given an overview of an idea to innovation, innovation to patent, and patent to commercialization. So thank you very much for giving an entire brief and an overview of what are the areas in which our students can focus on doing this IPR and research. Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of IIC, we thank our Honorable Principal, Dr. G. Selvakumar sir, our Professor L. Prabhu sir, Vice Principal Administration, Dr. S.P. Sangeeta ma'am, Vice Principal Academics, and the coordinators of this today's program, Dr. K. Bhupati sir, Deputy Director, IPR Cell, and even coordinator, Mr. Prabhakaran sir. Thank all the student participants who had actively participated in today's event, and this would have definitely enlightened our students. Thank you very much for all the participants who had joined and stayed till last. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
1 minute, ma. 1 minute. Hello. Yes, sir. I'm audible. Yeah, my special thanks to our chief guest, and also my heartfelt thanks to the IIC coordinator and president of the IIC, Mr. Praveen sir. He is always a simple person, sir. Narayan sir, he is very simple and he is an active person in the AVIT, sir. Thank you, Praveen sir, for your kind cooperation. Thank you very much. And
thank you, sir.
My special thanks to Prabhakar sir and Prabhu sir, all the members. Thank you, Narayan sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, Prabhakar sir.
Shall we wind up?
Yeah, we can wind up, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Prabhakaran sir,
Yes, sir.
feedback link has been posted, right, sir?
Yes, sir.
Posted,
It has
sir.
been
Posted.
So request all the students to fill the feedback link. So you'll be receiving a certificate for this today's event. I want all the students to post your feedback.
Any time restriction, Praveen sir, Prabhakar sir?
So it will be open till half an hour, sir, from now onwards.
Yeah.
After that,
please,
it will be closed. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thanks for information.
Thank-
Thanks to all, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. Prabhakar sir, thank you.
Prabhakaran sir,
Thank you,
thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
A special
Thank you
thanks
all.
to my student also, MC student, name I don't know, Priya or something. Badma Priya. Badma, all in the line?
Yes, sir. She is there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Raja, Rasat sir, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Praveen sir. Thank you, Bhupati sir. Thank you, Prabhakar.